Atamarie Kotu. Good morning, everyone. My name is Barbara Thomborson, and I am your service leader for today. Welcome to the Unitarian Church on this fine early spring morning. Today's service is a bit different because most of it you will be discussing certain topics relating to the broader area of death. And it is inspired by something called Death Café. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have heard of Death Café? Oh, good. How many of you have tried it? Okay, even better. So, for the Zoomers, please note that your discussions will be in breakout rooms with about 4 to 6 people in each one. This is because of the nature of Death Café and the limited time that we have. Death Café often goes on for like 2 hours. So our opening words come from the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh. Kate, could you grab the door? Thanks. Breathing in and out, I am aware of the fact that I am of the nature to die. I cannot escape dying. I am of the nature to grow old. I cannot escape old age. I am of the nature to get sick. Because I have a body, I cannot avoid sickness. Everything I cherish, treasure, and cling to today, I will have to abandon one day. The only thing I might carry with me is the fruit of my own actions. Clark, would you mind trying to light the chalice while I say the lighting words? They come from Albert Schweitzer. In everyone's life, at some time, our inner fire goes out. It is then burst into flame by an encounter with another human being. We should all be thankful for those people who rekindle our inner spirit. Let us say our covenant, which is in the front cover of the book and up there. Love is the doctrine of this church.
The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. Thus do we covenant with each other and with our God.
Well, this is a little introduction to what Death Café is about. It celebrates its 14th anniversary this month. There have been almost 19,000 Death Cafés that have met in those 14 years in 90 countries. A Death Café is a group-directed discussion of death with no agenda, objectives, or themes. Sometimes there are questions, which is what you will be discussing from today. It is a discussion group rather than a grief support group or counseling session. Their objective is to increase awareness of death with a view to helping people make the most of their finite lives. I have participated in a few Death Cafés and very much enjoyed them. So given our limited time, let's divide into groups of... Well, I'm going to share a few thoughts on why we fear the D word. So I hope your time in a mini Death Café has helped make death less fearful and more natural for you. But why does death cause us fear, even terror for some people, and such sadness? First of all, it's only natural. In my limited research, they were saying somehow the researchers have figured out that over 150,000 years ago, humans were already expressing fear of death. So it is natural, okay. But it is today, flash forward 150,000 years, it is among the most loaded words in our vocabulary. Listen to this list of euphemisms for death and dying. Kicking the bucket, bit the dust, passed away or passed on, croaked, expired, pushing up daisies, gave up the ghost, breathed their last, be in a better place, found eternal rest, lost their life, 6 feet under, and my favorite from Shakespeare, death as the mortal coil. I'm sure there are more. Maybe this has inspired some of your favorite, euphemisms for just death and dying. So historically, humans who have lived closer to nature found it easier to accept death. However, they generally died in their 20s. Victorian culture had both a morbid fascination with death and a genuine phobia towards it. For their growing middle class and upper class, fear of death for their children was realistic and constant. In 1850, the average age of death in England was 40 for men and 42 for women. In the decade starting 1860, England had its highest birth rate per 1,000 people until 1921. However, the highest child mortality rates were from 1860 until the Edwardian period. These were years of extreme poverty for a large percentage of the English population. And it was the years of exporting criminals to Australia for crimes like stealing a loaf of bread for your family. In this lowest class, death was an everyday occurrence, sometimes welcomed over starvation or long suffering illnesses. Suicide among the city poor was extremely common. As Shakespeare said, when beggars die, there are no comets seen. Given the pervasiveness of death in many parts of Britain and Ireland in the Victorian era, those most familiar with it didn't have the luxury of a morbid fascination or phobia concerning death. From my limited research, again, on how our fear of death came about, I fault the Victorians for this unnatural fear of death. But I need to reiterate that it is only natural. However, personally, it seems like it's gone too far, and our society is waking up to it with things like Death Café. Now, for extinguishing the chalice. Ted, would you mind extinguishing the chalice, please? We extinguish this flame, the words, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And guess what? Okay. And our closing words come from Philip Randall Giles. May the quality of our lives be our benediction and a blessing to all we touch. May we live well and look forward to gathering together again.